Well, I was waiting for this article to come out. It's now almost midnight here in beautiful Milwaukee. Lou Calgiovanni has uncovered a continued effort by the Magic the Gathering Judge Committee to cover up their tracks, to cover up after being exposed for harboring disgusting criminals in their ranks and for not having any actual system to root them out in any meaningful way. Now, I'm going to talk about the new judge conduct policy tomorrow, actually later today, because I probably will upload this video in the morning. But this is far more damning. Lou and I have both been watching the MTG Judge website, and we've been noticing some interesting changes. He dropped a brand new article today over on Niche Gamer, and I'm going to share just a few parts of it with you. And, you know, I want to encourage people to read the full article. So as this whole situation has been unfolding, we've seen time and time again where the judge committee or Magic the Gathering themselves, they say something and then they do another thing, right? We know, for example, from Article 3, Elaine Chase claimed they had a long-standing, and I quote, long-standing policy to prevent these sort of people from joining the ranks in the judge committee, and that was a lie. We now are told that a news station will be covering part of this on Sunday. And when word of that got out, many in the judge community actually called the news station to try and smear me and try and bully them into not covering this. I have emails from the station, from ABC7 in El Paso, Texas, that judges were calling the news station to try and say that I was lying or that there was proof or there wasn't proof of it. Of course, I have provided all of the receipts. In this new article, Lou breaks down a bit of the timeline, the lineage of Magic Gate. So if you want to read about that or the conspiracy, I think he does a pretty good job putting together a lot of the timeline. Then one of the interesting things that we caught them red-handed in was deleting certain references to people who had, well, been caught. The most damning, of course, was the Ross Prasnir case, where we had them, where he had been listed on a judge page here, and then removed with no formal statement. The only time the Magic the Gathering Judge Association communicated a actual statement was when they were caught. This continues to be the trend with these guys, and I don't understand why you would cover up for these people who are committing these kinds of crimes. Either, you know, one of only two things can be true. Either you don't care that you have these disgusting humans, at least at one point in your ranks. Possibly, there are some in your ranks right now. Certainly, the law of averages would dictate that there are several in your ranks currently. Or your ego is so strong that you just don't want to admit you screwed up, and so you keep trying to cover your tracks. Unfortunately for the Magic the Gathering Judge Association, which is thousands of people, run by a few corrupt people at the top, it would appear, your leadership continues to make you all look like sympathizers to the people that would target young children with disgusting acts. Now, this week, one of the interesting changes was we actually saw whoever is the webmaster for the website, and we have a small list of people we think could have access to it. We caught them changing their... First of all, we noticed they were removing things from the archive, okay? Now, the only people that can remove pages from internet history are actually the website owner from the Wayback Machine. Notice how all of these former screenshots are disappearing. There's one on June 16th, and that's it. Okay? The theory is that that they committed or submitted the internet. There's only one way. There's like a Digital Copy Protection Act or something that you can submit to the Wayback Machine to actually get snapshots of your pages removed. But what's interesting is the page would likely have been documented hundreds of times a day, every day, and even if it wasn't, the page existed since May 5th, 2016. So there would be dozens, if not hundreds, of entries to choose from. Why is there just one entry from 2016? The answer he proposes is someone took their sweet time to systematically had all the newer archived versions of the website deleted. One might wonder why those intent on scrubbing their sins from the Internet Archive would choose to keep the date June 16, 2016. It seems an attempted sleight of hand. If one admits to a small infraction, they can avoid being held culpable for the larger one. They're essentially attempting to say, yes, we made an error, and he was present in 2016, but the post claiming Prasnir was not taken off the list until December 27 are lies. Quite a scam, no? Here we have originals, and you can read all this, but here's a very, very obvious point that they're scrubbing their website. We can see that they made an additional change to the robots.txt on their website. Now, I don't know if I can actually view it anymore. I've been having some problem reading it. But you can see. Oh, it's actually, it should be org. And robots. There we go. Now we notice, look at this. If you don't know what robots.txt does, essentially it tells internet search engine bots what to index in the history, right? You would normally use robots.txt to disallow, let's say, user profiles from a Magento website or user profiles from a WordPress website. Pages you wouldn't want showing up in the index of search engines, right? Well, wouldn't you know it? They made an addition to the robots.txt to disallow their anniversaries page. Pretty interesting, isn't it? If this isn't pretty damning, I mean, this is super damning, right? They went into the robots because the standard robots.txt would have these two entries, the login page for WordPress and the admin page for WordPress. This is some, looks like custom plugin that they wouldn't want. Now, you would use this, like I said, to keep, for SEO reasons or just for organic traffic. But why? What reason would you disallow anniversaries from being indexed? There's no reasonable reason. I mean, that's relevant, decent content, right? That is totally something you would want in the search engine results pages unless you were trying to cover something up. Here we have a PDF of the file from January 16th or January 6th, 2018, where it's empty. For 6 years, they didn't have this entry in their robots.txt files. But here we go. And he actually has the original HTML and everything. Okay? You have your PDF version. Now you can see the screenshot. They have disallowed this. The HTML versions of these screenshots and full PDF are available for direct download by this link. There will be no running and hiding now that the conspiracy to protect disgusting human beings have been revealed. Who could be responsible for this? Well, we don't know. But we do know one thing. To make such a change, you would have to have administrative access. That's correct. So to edit a robots.txt file, the most common way you would do that is just via FTP, and you would edit Notepad, then re-upload it. There may be certain WordPress, WordPress may give you access to it, and you would add it there. But the way you would figure that out is a simple Google search. And the type of query you would type in would say, how do I keep something from showing up in Google? And then it would tell you that is where you add things to the robots.txt file. We have a very short list of people that we think could have access because they actually have, we actually have their org chart. Okay. Who's responsible for covering it up? The website's owner, James R. Bennett. Bennett is a big-time programmer and had to retire from judging after he became so influential writing books and giving lectures on Django. Was it the originator of the Judge's Anniversary website, Johanna Virtanen, who began writing in 2010? Virtanen, was forced to fall on her sword after Prasnir was exposed. They didn't fire her or anything. What about Ronald Thompson, who Virtanen handed the Judge's Anniversary page in November 2015? He's a programmer and would have the knowledge and capability to pull this off. Of course, it could have been formerly charged drug dealer Jason Lemahue, who pled down his case in charge of technology for the Magic Judge program, who literally lists himself as a professional WordPress developer. The question remains, who's behind this cover-up? Was it an individual, or was this a concerted effort? I've named a few possibilities, but there may be many others. Link will be in the description to this article. I mean, this is pretty spicy. This is pretty damning stuff. I mean, in what world would you be deleting this directory from? I mean, obviously, that's the directory that got you caught. So you're scrubbing that from ever being archived again in case you get caught again. So now I can just, I'll have to archive.is every page of this website whenever they upload anniversaries, or they're going to just not upload anniversaries anymore. But this is getting really, really creepy. Why would you go to such lengths? Either it's just to prevent a little egg on your face from making a mistake, or you're protecting somebody. And we know how progressive they can be, some of these people. When we look at the original Ross Prasnir thing, we saw that we see the narrative that they're setting up. Late last year, it was reported on social media that a level 1 judge he was level 2, by the way, was convicted of a sex crime in 2015. After hearing about these reports on December 25th, 2017, I immediately contacted the Judge Conduct Committee. Bullshit. We have the emails proving that you knew about it in June. But what we notice how they mention the anniversaries post here. And then they say, recently it was reported by me that the case was sent to magicjudgefeedback@gmail.com already in July 2017. This is true. They had the email. Due to an administrative error. By the way, could you imagine being in charge of this program? Okay, you're in charge of this program. You have like one job. And normally when you get conduct committee type emails or something, it's going to be like, oh, this judge did some mean things, or I didn't like this judge's decision, or, this judge smelled like booze. I don't know. I got to think that having convicted offenders getting, their criminal records emailed to you probably doesn't happen that often. So when it comes through, you got to think they would have taken action. But in fact, they did not take action. And not only did they not take action, they didn't fire the person who was supposed to have taken that action. Could you imagine running a company and have somebody say, oops, I missed this disgusting human being amongst you, a person that has done disgusting things, and no big deal. We'll just, not even no formal censure, no firing, no demotion. You're fine. And they can remain committed to protecting the Magic community and keeping the game fair and fun for everyone. You're not committed to keeping people away from predators, clearly. This cover-up in the Magic the Gathering Judge program is disgusting. This whole program needs to get torn down from the top. I don't know what else we're going to catch them in, but I already know there are a few more articles in the works and some pretty other damning evidence that's still having to be verified. Check out the article, and I guess we're not done putting pressure on Wizards of the Coast about this, because their judge committee is running wild, more concerned with protecting their own asses than dealing with the problem directly, and that is sickening.